All right, Coach. Third season back at your alma mater. Obviously, a lot of success at the NBA level. Playing career was illustrious. But the transition from going pro back to college, was there anything that surprised you now as you head into year three, just in terms of having to go from that level back to this level?
No really big surprises. Basketball is basketball in my mind. I think the difference from the pros to college is you got an opportunity to teach more at the college level. At the NBA level, you 3-4 games hitting you a week is just it's tough, and especially if you got a young team in the NBA, this could be a struggle. But I like to teach. I like to be out on the floor. So the 2 games a week in college, it kind of brings a smile to my face because it gives me an opportunity to do the things that I like doing.
So you talk about teaching NCAA tournament appearances the last 2 years, which is already great, just trending in the right direction. But taking that next step, whether it's teaching, whether it's just success, what does that look like to you?
The next step is winning a Big Ten title,
Sure.
a national title. That's what I came back for. I wouldn't have taken any other college job. I've spent 34 years of my life, over half my life in the NBA, and to be able to come back home and get this job, it means the world to me. So the only thing left for me to do now is to try to win a Big Ten title and a national title, and that's the only thing I'm preaching and pushing for.
Well, you mentioned your time in the NBA. I'm always curious from players who become coaches. Was there ever a moment for you where it just hit you saying, all right, you know what? I could see myself doing this one day.
I never thought I would be a coach when I left the game after playing 11 years, but good friend of mine who coached me, Cotton Fitzsimmons, who's no longer around, bamboozled me into coming out to Phoenix and be his assistant coach for the pre-draft camp, and said we could play golf every day. And it kind of went like this. I get to the first practice, and we're 30 minutes in, and Cotton says, hey, Woody, I got a tee time at 12. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go. He said, no, Woody, somebody's got to coach the team. I said, Cotton, I came out because you told me you and I were going to play golf. He says, well, somebody's got to coach the team. So I was left behind, had no clue about coaching, and that's how I got into the coaching game. I started to pursue it thereafter, and here I am now.
You didn't even get to swing an iron, like one?
No. So when I say he bamboozled me into it, he did.
Oh, no joke. Yeah.
I have him to thank for being a coach.
So I'm curious with this stuff too, because I've heard a lot of perspectives. You were on so many different teams in so many different roles. There were teams where you were the star. There were teams where you were more of a role player, and that's throughout your entire career. And everybody who gets to the NBA up to that point, they're the star, and then you adapt from there. How do you feel like that's helped you as a coach, of having to play all those different roles over the course of your playing career?
No, it's helped me tremendously. You think when you're a high school player, you're the star. You're a college guy, if you're fortunate enough, you're the star. NBA, there are a lot of stars. So, I have to play a role. And my role was, I had a knack to be able to score the basketball. So teams needed that. I played for various coaches and teams, and it's kind of been a carryover into my coaching career, because I coached for a number of teams, worked under a number of coaches, head coaches, and I've been able to just adjust and find my own niche as a coach, and that's helped me tremendously as I've grown as a basketball coach.
You played against some giants, Kareem and Hakeem Olajuwon, and long list of dominant big men. You coached against guys like Shaq or Yao Ming, these larger-than-life figures. And now you have to coach against a guy in Zach Edey who just seems to have unlimited eligibility in the Big Ten Conference. When you game plan for a guy like that, how do you draw on those past experiences and then kind of take it all into account moving forward?
He's a load, man. There's a reason why he was Player of the Year. I think Painter's done an excellent job with his ball club and shaping the big guy. It's tough. The game, you can't really game plan for him. You know he's there. he's not going anywhere, and you just got to hope that some of the shots that you force him to miss, he missed them because of your defense.
Yeah.
Because he's so gifted and skilled as a big man, I think. And he's going to be a load this year. So I gotta go back to the drawing board with my staff and try to figure it out when we play him.
You played in Bloomington. Now you get to coach there. What do you think it's about IU that makes it so special? What makes IU IU?
Our fan base. We the best in the country. I mean, and it's been that way for years. It has not changed from the time I played, and that was 40-some years ago, man. I mean, our fan base they're unbelievable, man. And they expect a lot. You know, expectations are always high every year, and it should be. I get it. You know, I mean, I was a part of that. So, I mean, they're expecting big things this year, and only time will tell. You know, we have a fairly new team. I got a lot of work on my hands, man.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you.
No doubt. Last question for you, and just in terms of tradition, that's what makes college athletics so much fun, and certainly a place like IU, it's so special. You can feel it when you're there. Is there a tradition that you've kind of kept from the time you were a student all the way now to being a coach? Is there one that you've brought back? Is there one that always stood out to you in just terms of the traditions that Indiana has?
When you walk into Assembly Hall, I still call it Assembly Hall. It's Scott now, Assembly Scott Hall. All you gotta do is look up at the banners. You know, it's long overdue. You know, I mean, that's why I'm back trying to fix it again and get us back on top. But it's the banners that what stands out, and Bob Knight is, make no mistake about it, is Indiana basketball.
No doubt. Real quick, I did lie. I got one more for you. But just going from the professional game back to the college game, you kind of came in at this time of NIL, and you came in at the time where it almost mirrors it a little bit more than it used to. How have you seen that in terms of how the players are and the personalities with how NIL has now impacted how you coach it?
You know, I'm not against NIL. You know, when it was brought in, I mean, I'm for players, you know, making money, but I'm also for players doing the right things. You know, I'm strictly about education. I could care less about the money, because I do know if you get an education, that's going to take you a lot further than the money that you're making today. I just think the NIL needs some structure, man, and I don't know where it's going to come from, how it's going to happen. You know, I'm not here to say I want to take the money away from the players. I want the players to continue to make it. But somehow we got to come up with some kind of structure where it doesn't get too far out of hand, because if we don't, I think it can ruin college sports. I just do, with the portal and the NIL staring you in the face every year.
No question. Daunting task ahead. Still the most elite facial hair in all of basketball. It's all yours. That's your title. And you're not giving that up anytime soon. We appreciate it, Coach.
All right.
Looking forward to the
Hey,
season.
thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.